Hey guys, it's GameDoods and it's MBZ here for a solo GBA review, our first GBA review, and it's Fire Emblem and the Sacred Stones. Now, Fire Emblem games are, they have a very long history in Japan. They've been around there for a long time, and it's only just recently that they've been emerging into the Western countries. And this is, in fact, the second game that's been released here, the first being aptly named Fire Emblem. And this is just a continuation of the same sort of stuff that you saw in the first one. The main premise of this title is the fact that you're going to be going around maps, following a story, and the game is essentially what is known as a strategy RPG. So it's sort of like a fusion of Advance Wars and Pokemon, to be honest. That's what I would say. You've got the sort of over-top view of Advance Wars, which is basically exactly the same in Fire Emblem. And then you've got an RPG element, so you're going to be leveling up characters, and you're going to be getting items and stuff, and you're going to be trying to just clear maps in that sort of sense. The storyline is in fact pretty much key to the entire game, so as you're going to be following one of two characters. You start off as the sister called Erica, and you're going to be following her story up to around the 8th chapter. Now each chapter's basically a different map. So you go through 8 chapters, they're all pretty easy at the start. Then you have the option to switch between her brother and herself. So, to be honest, you could make this game last for a relatively long time if you wanted to go through all the options that are involved. So if you choose one sibling's path as opposed to the other, you're going to get in completely different maps. So that's a nice bonus there. The essential premise of the story is that you're going to be trying to get this thing called these things called sacred stones, and they're basically, they're able to control like the demon king who's like locked away and stuff. And this guy called Leon, I think, he tries to unlock the demon king from his like tomb and stuff. All that sort of fantasy sort of storyline. And yeah, so he's their friend until he turns evil and stuff, and so that's basically what you're trying to do, and you're trying to save your kingdom from destruction, basically. Of course, being a story-driven game, there's going to be a hell of a lot of text, so you can either choose to skip this. I didn't do that. I felt like going through the story, finding out what was going to happen, makes it a whole lot more interesting, and it just makes you want to play the game a lot more. It makes you a lot more connected to the characters and sort of get the backstories that they have. And another nice addition that you can see here is a thing called support conversations. So if you're on a map and your two characters have been standing next to each other for a long enough time, they start up this conversation, and by increasing support levels, it's just another extra to the game, and it sort of gets you into the character a bit more and find out what the characters what they're like and their personalities and stuff. So the story's good, that's a fact. But how compelling is the gameplay as a whole? Well, in my view, the gameplay is extremely, extremely good. Some people may argue that it's repetitive. I wouldn't say that. You're going to start off small. You're going to have a few characters. You're going to have a few enemies on the map, and the first few chapters you'll breeze through. You'll just be using standard weapons. Most weapons start off as iron things, then you get up to steel. And the thing about weapons is that they degrade over time, so they have a limited use. Not like in Pokemon where you have PP, which can be restored at the Pokemon Center. Once a weapon's gone, it's gone. And that's also true for the characters themselves. Because, again, unlike Pokemon, if it faints, you can go to the Pokemon Center, revive it, stuff like that happens. But in this game, if you lose a character, that's it. They're gone. They're out of the game. So this makes a lot more replay happen. It means that if you have died on a map, one of your main characters is gone. Of course, you want to restart that chapter because you don't want to lose that character, and you're compelled to do it. If you're one of those people who doesn't really care and doesn't mind, you can always move on. You don't have to go back and retrieve the character. But if you want to get all the characters, have them all really good levels at the end, then that's what you want to do. You want to keep them all. So the battle system used is what's based around the thing known as a weapon triangle, so that basically lances overpower swords, swords overpower axes, and axes overpower lances as such. You also have magic, which is a magic circle between anima, dark, and light, and so you can sort of figure out how that works. And then you've also got ranged weapons such as bows and like throwing axes and stuff, and they all sort of work in their own different way. But it's quite nice. It adds a nice new twist to a sort of RPG game, and it works pretty well. Obviously, throughout this game, it's an RPG. Characters are going to be leveling up. They're going to be getting stronger. When you reach certain levels, you're actually allowed to upgrade your characters. So, there are 3 specific characters which start at a really like junior level. They're like really weak at the start. They get to around level 10 and they automatically upgrade. So when you upgrade, you get much stronger. You get access to different types of weapons. So before, if you're only able to use a sword, maybe now you're able to use an axe as well, and that sort of stuff happens. So you could say start off as just a small guy, and then get up to a warrior by upgrading yourself with items. And there are different upgrade items which help you along to do this. So you can start off as like a mage and then work your way up, and eventually you're going to get like really high level. So it's pretty good in that sense. Nice thing about this Fire Emblem game is that you can actually, when you upgrade, you can choose to be a different guy. So if you were like such as a horseman to begin with, you have the option to become a great knight or a paladin. And so each of those guys has their advantage, and you can choose whichever one you want to be. So enough about the gameplay. What about the graphics? Well, the graphics on this game are pretty impressive. They are, they're normal GBA graphics, what you'd expect. But I kind of really am drawn to the fact that they're so such well done actions in terms of like when you're attacking different characters. It just makes it run a lot nicer. It just looks really good the way that the animation's done. And I just like watching the fight sequences instead of just seeing on screen someone moving along and hitting it just without the action scene. So is the game going to last you very long? Well, in my opinion, it can last quite a good long time. In total, you've got 20 chapters, so that's around 20 maps, and there's 1 bonus level. In the previous game, I think there are a few more, but that's what you've been left with for this one. You can go through the story once, and you can do everything, like getting all the characters and stuff, but only doing it once means you only follow one storyline. So if you restart the game, you can go through it and change the other storyline, and you'll get like about 5 or 6 different chapters which you've never done before, which is really, really great. And of course, when you get to the end, there are the challenges which are known as the Tower of Valny and the Ruins, and both of those places you can go and you can fight really tough monsters, and basically it's pretty damn good. Because it allows you to unlock extra characters that you've seen throughout the game and you haven't been able to pick up during the main story, but you're able to get like really powerful guys by doing these extra challenges after you've completed the game. So once you've done that, there's a creature campaign that's pretty good, and it can keep going for ages. I mean, I'm still going on it. I'm still trying to get my characters up levels, trying to get the highest I can, and yeah, it's really compelling to keep going. The game does support a multiplayer mode, but to be honest, it's not that great. You can choose 5 characters and, get your GBA link cable with your mate and link up and choose your 5 characters and just fight against each other on this sort of grid. Not a proper map. It's just a sort of little room, and you have 5 characters lined up against each other, choose to hit each other, and that's basically it. So, there's multiplayer, but it's not great. The main story is compelling, and that's basically the reason that you'd buy it for. So yeah, really great game, and pretty awesome GBA title. So there we go. So I'd have to give this game a 9.4 out of 10. It's a really great game. It's an awesome RPG, and if you're sort of into Pokemon and Advance Wars, this is a perfect concoction. It'll keep you hooked for absolutely ages. Still has me hooked. So it's a great game. Go out and buy it. It's awesome. So yeah, that's us for this time. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I've got a quick announcement to make after this vid's up, so watch out for that, guys.